You remember things wrong, not a little wrong, like emotionally photoshopped wrong. That embarrassing thing you said 5 years ago, your brain didn't just keep it in storage, it cropped it, blurred the edges, slapped on a nostalgia filter, and quietly changed the dialogue so you sound less unhinged. This isn't a bug, it's your brain acting like an overprotective PR manager. Every time you remember something, you're not pulling up a recording, you're rebuilding it from scraps. And while it's rebuilding, your brain takes creative liberties. It smooths out trauma, it deletes details that would make you spiral at 2:47 a.m. It sometimes straight up replaces pain with a vague, that sucked feeling. Think about it like this. If your brain stored memories perfectly, you'd be emotionally drop-kicked every time you remembered a breakup, a car accident, or that one time you waved back at someone who wasn't waving at you. So instead, your brain goes, "Bestie, no," and quietly rewrites the script. That's why siblings remember the same childhood completely differently. That's why your version of events always makes you sound reasonable. Your brain is protecting your sense of identity because a brain that constantly reminds you of your worst moments is a brain that stops functioning. Basically, your memories are less like files and more like fan fiction your brain writes to keep you mentally employed and socially alive. Ever get hurt and not feel it immediately? Like you smash your shin on a table, stare at it for a second and think, that's fine. And then 30 seconds later, your soul leaves your body. That pause is not bravery, that's your brain hitting the "we'll deal with this later" button. In dangerous or stressful moments, your brain releases chemicals that temporarily block pain signals. Not because it cares about your comfort, but because pain is inconvenient when survival is on the agenda. If you're running from danger, bleeding is a tomorrow problem. This is why people can finish marathons on broken bones, why accident victims sometimes walk away before collapsing, and why you can calmly assess a wound before suddenly remembering that nerves exist. Your brain prioritizes action over accuracy. The messed up part? Once the danger passes, your brain clocks out and dumps all the pain at once like overdue emails. That's when you're on the floor questioning your life choices. Pain in this context isn't a warning system, it's a delayed invoice. Your brain lets you keep moving, then sends the bill with interest. Basically, your nervous system is a shady manager who says, "You're fine, keep working," and then hands you a medical bill later. Sometimes something bad happens and you don't feel sad, or scared, or anything. You just feel flat, like someone turned your emotions down to low battery mode. Congratulations, your brain just wrapped you in emotional bubble wrap. When feelings get too intense, your brain can temporarily shut them off. Not because you're broken, not because you're heartless, but because experiencing everything at full volume would fry the system. This is especially common after shock, trauma, or overwhelming stress. It's the same logic as a circuit breaker. Too much input, power down before something catches fire. The problem is, numbness feels creepy. You start thinking, why am I not reacting like a normal human? Which, ironically, is you reacting like a very normal human. Your brain is buying you time. It's letting you function, get through the day, and not emotionally combust in public. Eventually, the feelings come back, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once while you're folding laundry. Your brain didn't delete them, it just put them in quarantine. Basically, emotional numbness is your brain saying, "We'll unpack this later because right now you need to survive and not scream in a grocery store." You're lying in bed, doing absolutely nothing when your brain suddenly decides to simulate your own humiliation, failure, or death in HD. You imagine arguments that haven't happened, disasters that statistically won't happen, and conversations where everyone hates you for reasons you never uncover. This feels rude, it feels unnecessary, it feels like mental sabotage, but your brain thinks it's helping. This is called threat simulation. Your brain is running worst-case scenarios like a deranged safety training video, just in case you ever need them. Ancient humans who imagined predators hiding everywhere were more likely to survive than the chill ones who said, "It's probably fine." Anxiety is basically that survival system still running in a world where the threats are emails and social awkwardness. So your brain goes, what if this goes wrong? What if you mess up? What if everyone leaves? Not to torture you, but to prepare you. If you've already imagined the worst, it thinks the impact will hurt less. Spoiler, it doesn't hurt less, it just hurts earlier. But from your brain's perspective, constant rehearsal equals readiness. It would rather exhaust you with imaginary danger than let you be surprised by real danger. Basically, your brain is a paranoid intern who never stops running drills, even though the building is on fire 0% of the time. Have you ever been doing something stressful and suddenly felt like you weren't fully in your body, like you're watching yourself exist from slightly above and to the left? Or everything feels unreal, distant, like the world's on low graphics mode, that's not you losing your mind. That's your brain pulling the emergency eject lever. Dissociation is what happens when your brain decides reality is a bit too much right now. Instead of processing everything directly, it creates distance, emotional distance, sensory distance, sometimes even identity distance. It's the mental equivalent of squinting, so the image gets blurry. This response shows up during trauma, extreme stress, or situations where escape isn't possible. If your body can't leave, your mind goes, cool, I'll just step back emotionally. The creepy part is how automatic it is. You don't choose it. Your brain just quietly says, nope, and reroutes your consciousness. Long-term dissociation can be a problem, sure, but in the moment, it's protective. It keeps you functioning when fully experiencing reality would overwhelm you. Basically, your brain is saying, I know this is bad, but let's watch it through frosted glass so you don't shatter. You don't just miss people. Sometimes your body reacts like separation is a physical threat. Tight chest, racing thoughts, sudden urge to text something unhinged like, are you mad at me? At 1 a.m. That's not weakness, that's ancient wiring screaming. Humans evolved to survive in groups. Being abandoned once meant actual death. No protection, no food, no backup. So your brain still treats emotional distance like a survival emergency. When someone pulls away, or you think they're pulling away, your nervous system lights up, cortisol spikes, logic shuts down, your brain starts scanning for danger like you're about to be exiled into the wilderness. It doesn't matter that you have Wi-Fi and groceries, your brain doesn't care. It learned this lesson a very long time ago and refuses to update the software. So you overthink, you replay conversations, you brace for rejection that hasn't happened, not because you're dramatic, but because your brain is desperately trying to keep you connected to the tribe. Basically, your brain would rather embarrass you than let you be alone, because loneliness used to be fatal. Ever notice how terrifying moments stretch out like a slow-motion movie, but weeks of your life disappear in a blink? That's not poor time management, that's your brain warping reality on purpose. When danger hits, your brain floods your system with stress chemicals that sharpen focus and crank up awareness. Suddenly, you notice everything, your surroundings, your body, every possible escape route, because more information means better survival odds. With all that extra data, time feels slower. But when life is safe and repetitive, your brain stops recording in detail. Days blur, weeks vanish. You look back and think, did I even exist last month? And your brain shrugs. It's efficient. If nothing important is happening, why waste energy storing it? Your brain saves high-definition memory for threats and novelty, not your third identical Tuesday. This is why childhood feels longer than adulthood. New experiences stretch time. Routine collapses it. Your brain isn't stealing time from you. Basically, your brain bends time like a survival-themed video editor, slowing the scary parts and fast-forwarding the boring ones. Right when things are going well, you panic, you procrastinate, you pick a fight, you suddenly lose interest, and later you're like, why did I do that to myself? Because your brain hates uncertainty more than failure. Success often means change, new expectations, new risks, more to lose. And your brain looks at that and says, absolutely not. It would rather stick with familiar discomfort than gamble on unfamiliar success. So it quietly sabotages you, not maliciously, strategically. If things fall apart because of you, at least it's predictable. At least you're in control of the downfall. This is especially common if your past taught you that good things don't last. Your brain learned to end them early to avoid the shock later. It's emotional damage control. The irony is painful. The thing holding you back thinks it's keeping you safe. Basically, your brain would rather you fail on your own terms than succeed and risk surprise pain. You say sorry when someone bumps into you. You justify simple choices like you're on trial. You mentally rehearse explanations no one asked for. That's not politeness, that's threat detection. Your brain is scanning for signs of rejection or conflict and preemptively trying to neutralize it. Over-explaining is an attempt to stay socially safe. If you give enough context, enough reasoning, enough proof that you're not a problem, maybe no one will be mad. Maybe no one will leave. This often develops in environments where misunderstanding had consequences, where being misread led to punishment, shame, or isolation. So your brain learned to talk first, explain fast, and smooth things over before danger appears. The problem is, most people weren't attacking you to begin with. Your brain just doesn't know that yet. Basically, your mouth is running damage control for a threat that doesn't exist anymore. Here's the darkest one. Your brain doesn't just protect your body, it protects who you think you are, even if that identity hurts you. If you've always seen yourself as the anxious one, the broken one, or the one who struggles, your brain will defend that story. Change threatens identity, healing threatens familiarity, and familiarity feels safe. So when you start to grow, your brain resists. It whispers doubt. It pulls you back into old patterns, not because growth is bad, but because losing your old self feels like a kind of death. Your brain wants continuity. It wants a stable narrative, even if that narrative includes pain. Letting go of an identity means stepping into uncertainty, and your brain hates that more than anything. Basically, your brain protects you by keeping you the same, even when the same hurts. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.